data for this area. The longest data here from Manaus date back until the early 20s in the 20th century. So we only have 80 years of data, a bit more than 80 years. And but we don't know how are the longer cycles within the forest, the longer cycles of changes. We know that there are changes from one year to the other, but we also know that we have longer changes of 30 to 50 years. So with data only for 80 years, we can cover the whole cycles. And for this reason, we need some more information, or much more information about the history of this forest. And that's what I am trying to do now with our project, together with LBA and with the INPA, who is officially the owner of this area, to try to discover cores from trees and to compare them with the data we have, tree rings, compare with the data we have. And we know that lots of these trees are much older than 80 years, but we don't know how old they really are. But we hope that we can go back until, let's say, the last 300, maybe to 500 years, so that we have a longer scale from the younger history. We know much more from the older history, from the glacial times, the last 20,000 and the last 6,000 to 5,000 years, but the younger history after the birth of Christ, we don't know very much. We only have very few information from books and so on, but we don't have any data. And that's what we are trying to do now, to discover a bit more of this history.
What would happen to the Earth's climate if the forests here were burned?
Were burned? Oh.
Or change? That's a big question.
Oh yes.
But what would happen? I just think if deforestation continued like the models suggest, and the carbon in these forests goes up into the atmosphere, what would happen?
Well, there's one point. We will support the already ongoing emission of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere.
If you start by saying if the forests here were, if deforestation continued and the forests here burned, then?
Well, if the deforestation will continue here or in other parts of the world, we will add more CO2 to the atmosphere, and we are going to lose a very precious box to sequester CO2 from the atmosphere. So if we add on one hand and we destroy the possibility of sequestration, we are losing, I think, more than twice on the total than we would lose when we going on to protect this forest. We need them as a basic tool to sequester CO2 from the atmosphere, and also, which is more important, we probably can deal with them with the higher temperatures of the world, but the most important thing is the water cycle, already mentioned by Flavio, because we can survive with temperatures 1 or 2 degrees higher than today, but without water we can't survive. And especially the southeast, where most of the Brazilian people are living at the moment, this part is very much dependent on the reproduction, recycle of the water from the forest. And this is the area which probably might be mostly affected from one point for agricultural production, but also from the storage or the support of drinking water every day. And on the other hand, because Brazil is already depending on, let's say, a green energy program, more than 70% of the energy is produced by water dams, by hydro dams. And if the water level goes down, the dams or the turbines can't move the normal way they have to be, so they have to go slower, and the effect will be less energy, less cooling, and lots of damage to the economy of this country, and all other country, the economy of this country and other economies in the area as well.